This is the book of Job, chapter 8, verse 8. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to search of their fathers. Verse 9. For we are but of yesterday, and know nothing, because our days upon earth are a shadow. NLT version, Job chapter 8, verse 8. Just ask the previous generation, pay attention to the experience of our ancestors. Verse 9. For we were born but yesterday and know nothing. Our days on earth are as fleeting as a shadow. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is his son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of Job, chapter 8, verse 8 through 9, is that I want to go into the history of why King James the First, okay, and King James the First was the one that authorized the English version of the Holy Bible, okay, which is used to this very day. And what's so profound about that particular version, okay, the English version, the King James version, is that it had been used for 300 years. All right, as the soul, I got it right here. Published in 1611, the King James version was the primary and undisputed English Bible for over 300 years. Okay, and that's why we use the King James version. All right, regarding the English language to bring out the words of the Lord. Now, that doesn't negate from not looking up words. You're supposed to go into words, all right, to get a better understanding, okay? The scriptures say, study to show thyself approved, dividing the word of truth. So I want to go into this history of King James and how he was against the Roman Catholic Church. And what inspired me to go into this history is that over the weekend, me and the brothers of GMS Miami, we were just going into how the Roman Catholic Church, this is after we finished camp, we fellowshipped after camp. We were going into how the Roman Catholic Church is behind a lot of things, especially plots to overthrow governments, overthrow institutions. All right, and then the Spirit jumped on me to ask, what type of corruption and rebellion has the Roman Catholic Church been caught doing, all right, in terms of trying to overthrow governments. And what popped up was the Roman Catholic Church trying to assassinate King James. Okay? And by the way, King James is a so-called black man. All right? Because at this time, all right, the Roman Catholic Church, okay, was controlled by Edomites. All right? This is the 1600s. And they didn't like King James because King James wouldn't recognize, as it says right here, that the Pope claimed spiritual and temporal supremacy over earthly monarchs. All right? And that's why King James was against the Roman Catholic Church. All right? Because by him acknowledging, as it says here, the papal authority, it was a direct threat to his absolute rule, okay, over his kingdom. Okay? So this is very important history to know because, all right, the Bible, the King James Bible, all right, has nothing to do with the Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church has been corrupted, okay, since these Edomites got into that into that papal authority seat, starting with the I got it right here, the Borgias family, the original crime family. Okay, Pope Alexander the Sixth, or the Rodrigo Borgia, or what they call the Borgias family, is widely remembered as the most corrupt pontiff in the history of the Catholic Church. You see, all right, and this is something the Roman Catholic Church attempts to cover up. Okay, because their foundation, okay, and we're talking about these Edomites, because this is when these Edomites, okay, got into power. This is the Renaissance period. All right, when they got into power, they were wicked, corrupt, what's it called, beast-like, okay, and they use religion as a cloak, all right, to hide their malicious ways. All right, that's why it's very important to know this history, because King James was totally against the Roman Catholic Church, and that's why they wanted him killed. His wife is so Pope Alexander the Sixth, Rodrigo Borgia. All right, this is where you get the Cesare Borgia, the image of Jesus, because it was his son. All right, that what was their name? Michelangelo, Leonardo, one of those two painted, all right, Rodrigo Borgia's son, Cesare, as the image of what people call today Jesus. And that's not his name. It's real history. History you need to know. His 1492 to 1492, exactly. This is when the Renaissance, this is Christopher Columbus, the beginning of the transatlantic slave trade. 1503 papacy was defined by an open disregard for church law. Right. Again, they never believed in the scriptures. All right. They were just using religion as a cloak, okay, to hide their malicious and evil ways. All right. Basically, wolves in sheep's clothing. Okay. Using the Holy See primarily as a tool to build a wealthy secular empire for his family. Right. Again, they never believed in the scriptures, because the things that they were doing was opposite to what the scriptures say. While many of the wildest rumors, like systematic poisoning, right, that was in the Borgias series. You can watch it on Netflix. Okay, it's a pretty good series. What was his name played? What was his name? Jeremy Irons. Yep. Jeremy Irons played Rodrigo Borgia, right? Borgia. Yep. This is it right here. This is the history of the Edomites coming into power in that Roman Catholic Church. All right, and again, there's a lot of historical documentation, all right, that reveal how Chezi, okay, and this is where you get the image of Jebus, all right, slept with his sister, Lucretia, and it says it in here too, all right. Yeah, these are a wicked family. These are the Edomites, okay? These are the Edomites, okay? The so-called white people today, all right? Their history is wicked, okay? The Roman Catholic Church is a wicked institution. That's why King James was against it, all right? And he always knew that they wanted to take over his kingdom. That's why they tried to assassinate him. Okay, so let me go back to these Edomites history. Okay, while many of the wildest rumors like systematic poisoning or incest, there we go, were likely exaggerated by his Italian rivals who hated the Spanish origins. Right, that goes to show you the people of Spain are Edomites. Okay, Christopher Columbus was commissioned by the Queen of Spain. Forgot her name. All right, but they were all Edomites. Okay, was it Queen Elizabeth and Ferdinand? Okay, you know what? Let me, because I gotta get my my scholarly education up. All right, who was the queen that commissioned Well, let's do it this way. No single ruling queen commissioned the Borgia family, as they were a powerful, independent Renaissance dynasty. There you go. Renaissance meaning the birth of what? The Edomites, the so-called white man coming in power, rather than a work of art or architecture. However, several kings interacted with them, most notably Queen Isabella I of Castile, right, there we go, who relied on Cardinal Rodrigo Borgia, late Pope Alexander VI, to validate her marriage. You see that? Okay. So that's how you know the power lied in the Pope, the papacy. All right. So that goes to show you that when the scriptures talk about the false prophet, okay, in Revelation, you know this is talking about the Roman Catholic Church. Okay. So there you go. That was the queen, and Queen Isabella. Who was the queen that commissioned Christopher? Just to double check, should have been Queen Isabella. Yep, Queen Isabella I of Castile commissioned Christopher Columbus alongside her husband, King Ferdinand II of Aragon. She provided the royal backing of funding for his historic 1492 voyage across the Atlantic in exchange for a promise to expand the Spanish Empire and spread, okay, plantation Christianity. This is history you got to know. All right, that's why these wacky tacky plantation Christians, they ain't got the truth. They're demons. All right, they avoid history like this. So let's get back to King James, because King James was against the Roman Catholic Church and was for good reason. All right, so here we go. The threat of treason. James' reign was defined by the gunpowder plot of 1605, an assassination attempt orchestrated by the English Catholics angry over the lack of religious toleration. Okay, and they're trying to soften the blow, because I asked over here, I said, didn't they plot? I said the Jesuits. I said, didn't they plot against King James I? Yes. The Jesuits were famously accused of plotting to assassinate King James I in the gunpowder plot of 1605. That's why these Jesuits are wicked, man. That's the army of the Roman Catholic Church. And they're everywhere. They got their hands everywhere. Most notably through the involvement of Father Henry Garnet, the head of the English Jesuits. All right, so the Jesuits have been a major factor in attempting to overthrow governments. All right, and they're backed by the Roman Catholic Church. While the plot to blow up the House of Lords was physically organized by a group of provincial English Catholics led by Robert Gaspee and executed by Guy Fawkes. Now, okay, and what was that movie? V for Vendetta. Okay, they used the Guy Fawkes image. All right, because he was a wicked Edomite who hated King James, because King James didn't want to bow down to the Roman Catholic Church. All right, and he was the one that spread the rumors that King James was a homosexual. It was all lies. All right, he's an Edomite, hating ass Edomite. The Jesuit leadership was deeply entangled in the aftermath, accused of being the mastermind behind the treason. Exactly. Okay, the Jesuit connection to the gunpowder plot. The confession dilemma. Father Henry Garnet learned of the plot through the seal of confession from another Jesuit, Father Oswald Tessimone, who had been consulted by the conspirators. Because Catholic law strictly forbids a priest from revealing details heard in confession, Garnet did not alert King James I or the authorities, though he did attempt to write letters to Rome to stop any violent uprising. Whether that's true or not, point is, all right, he knew about the Jesuits' plot to try to kill King James I. The Jesuit treason. The English government used Garnet's silence as proof of a wider institutional Jesuit treason. The state argued that the Jesuits were acting as secret agents of the Pope, working covertly within England to overthrow the Protestant monarchy. And that's what these Edomites do. They'll use religion, okay, all right, to overthrow governments. They always do that because they don't believe in the scriptures. They just use, okay, this religious aspect, that religion, culture to infiltrate. Okay, that's how they were able to get up in the papacy. All right, and and what I'm talking about Rodrigo Borgia. The first crime family. So hey, this is why you got to know the history, man. All right, so that you can understand that the King James Bible, okay, that's the Bible, that's the go-to Bible. Okay? That's the Bible you want to use. All right? Because, hey, King James, the Lord put the Spirit on King James. Again, King James is an Israelite, so-called black man, all right, to authorize, okay, the translation of the Greek, the Latin, and the Hebrew into English. Okay? This is the history. Just get it. What did King James the first do regarding the manuscripts of the words of God? Just write it like that. In 1604, King James I authorized a new English Bible translation. He instructed a team of 47 scholars to translate directly from the original Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. I thought it was Latin too. I thought they had the Latin. I'm going to double check that. These translators primarily relied on the printed Greek text known as the Textus Receptus. The source text. So it's 1604. So from 1604 to 1611, they were working on perfecting this translation. It means they made many copies. Okay? For the New Testament, they utilized the Greek text published by Desire Hermes, and you could get into this history, as well as a variety of later of the Byzantine and medieval manuscripts. Right, because this is the time when Jake was ruling in the Byzantine Empire. That's what you have known as the Dark Ages. Okay, which again, well, the history. Let's get a scripture. Revelation, what is it? 20. Right here. And then I saw an angel coming down from heaven with the key to the bottomless pit, and having a heavy chain in his hand. 2. He seized the dragon, that old serpent, who is the devil, Satan, and bound him in chains for 1,000 years. There you go. Okay? So, from the time of Nero, the emperor, all the way up to, who was the Pope before Rodrigo Borgia? Who was the Pope before Rodrigo Borgia? Pope Innocent the Ninth. Yep. So there you go. So Pope Innocent the Ninth. And this was the last Jake to rule over the Holy Roman Empire, the Roman Catholic Church. And then these Edomites came in, and then the wickedness started to spread. But there you go. It says Innocent the Ninth served as the head of the Catholic Church from 1484 until his death in July 1492, after which Borgia was elected in August 1492. Right. How did he die? Did they show how he died? How did he die? A famous but highly contested rumor surrounding his death claims his physician attempted the world's first blood transfusion. Yeah, this is it. This is what I want. If you can share details, how did Rodrigo Borgia leverage the following innocence? Yeah, this is what I want. Because this is when he came in and started becoming these Edomites came in and started becoming a demon. Rodrigo Borgia capitalized heavily on both the literal lawlessness in the streets of Rome and the deep political gridlock inside the Sistine Chapel to secure his election as Pope Alexander VI. His ascent during the Papal Conclave of 1492 is a masterclass in Renaissance realpolitik executed through three main avenues, exploiting the lawless integrum. When Pope Innocent IX died, Rome dissolved into immediate anarchy. The city's rival aristocratic factions took advantage of the power vacuum to settle blood feuds, resulting over 200 recorded assassinations in the short weeks before a new pope was chosen. This was all done to kill Jake off. 200 recorded assassinations. They were killing Jake, man. All right. This is hey. That's why you gotta know the history. All right. So yeah. So again. So for 1,000 years, Jake was ruling until these devils came in. Let me go back. Where is it at? And bound them chains for 1,000 years. Okay. So yeah. After Innocent died, the Borgias family came up, and then wickedness just started to spread. People getting assassinated. Jake was getting killed, assassinated. All right, lost everything. 3. The angel threw him into the bottomless pit, which he then shut locked so Satan could not deceive the nations anymore until the 1,000 years were finished. Afterward, he must be released for a little while. Right, and again, 1492. All right, Rodrigo Borgia, Christopher Columbus, all that. All right. So again, King James knew the history. He knew that these Edomites were corrupt to the core. Okay. And they were trying to kill him. So yeah, this is history to know. So let's go back. I want I want to go back to the. So over 200 recorded assassinations short weeks before the new pope was chosen. Ordinary citizens and clergy desperately craving a strong, decisive administrator who could restore civil order. Having served as the Vatican's highly competent vice chancellor for 35 years, Borgia positioned himself as the only candidate with the administrative grit and experience to crush the lawlessness. 35 years he waited patiently like a true serpent, breaking the deadlock between superpowers. The conclave was completely deadlocked between two fierce rival factions backed by foreign superpowers. Cardinal Giuliano Devoto. All right. Borgia systematically broke Sforza's coalition by offering the Milanese cardinal the unlimited political prize, Borgia's own highly lucrative office of vice chancellor, along with his opulent personal palace. Look at that. Once Sforza threw his support behind Borgia, a domino effect occurred. Borgia aggressively traded church offices, lands, and vast sums of silver to swing the remaining swing votes. Look at that. This whole Roman Catholic is corrupt to the very core. So yeah, this is why King James was against these this church, this wicked church. Equivocation. During the highly publicized trial, Father Garnett defended the doctrine of mental reservation, or equivocation, the belief that a Catholic could give a misleading answer on their oath to protect innocent lives and religious secrets without committing a sin. This deeply alarmed the English public, cementing a stereotype of Jesuits as deceptive and untrustworthy political plotters. Right, and that's the spirit of the Jesuit. That's Jesuit organization. They do not mind lying to you, all right, because they don't think it's sin if it's a religious secret, okay, and they don't give a damn about innocent lives. They're the ones that create chaos to overthrow governments. So they're all about death. So there you go, man. That's some history. All right. And first of all, okay, we're not supposed to be worshiping man, okay, or an institution. All right. The scriptures. This is how you know the Roman Catholic Church is off. Right here, in Revelation chapter 19, verse 10, it says, "And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. There you go. Okay, so we're supposed to be worshiping our Heavenly Father and His Son. All right. Now, of course, the Heavenly Father gets the greater glory, gets the greater worship. All right. However, you're supposed to also worship the Son too, Yahushua. Okay, that's why we say Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Okay, because again, the Father gets the glory. All right, He gets the first praise. Okay, and then of course His Son, who Yahushua is coming on behalf of His Father. So there you go. So that's why we're in the spirit of prophecy, because we know this Roman Catholic Church is about to be destroyed, because it was built on wickedness. And King James, man, he had to always worry about being assassinated by these devils, man. Revelation 19 and 20. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrote miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. Right, because the Roman Catholic Church is going to be the one is going to push the mark of the beast on the people. Okay, that's why you're not supposed to take that chip. All right, because the whole world is going to be deceived by it. Once they see the Pope and the Vatican saying, no, the chip is a good thing to do, take it. Hey, man, a lot of people are going to take that chip. All right. Also, and the beast represents America, because it says these both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone, because America is going to be cooked. All right. America is going to be destroyed. This is the lake of fire. So this place is going to be destroyed, as well as that Vatican Church. That place is going to be destroyed. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lord sent them, allowed a nuclear missile from like Iran or something like that, or from Russia or from America, because these. All right, I wouldn't be surprised if America lobs a nuke on the Vatican Church, but that place is going to be destroyed. That whole Vatican Church. In fact, look, these are the three city-states. Okay, you have the Trinity of globalist control. There is no democracy here, right? It never was. The Vatican City religion. Okay, and once you understand the history of the Roman Catholic Church, you avoid them like the plague. Finance. Okay, that's Great Britain, England. Excuse me. All right, London. Mainly London, because that's where that's what I meant to say. London, that's inside Great Britain. London is a city-state, and that's where the financial house is at. Okay. If you look at any of the latest laws regarding like digital currency, crypto, blockchain, a lot of the laws are stemmed from London. And then of course you got DC, which is the military power. All right, and this is what keeps these Edomites in power. Okay, these so-called white people. All right, but it's all coming to an end, because hey, the truth is out now. Yeah, so Lord willing, this is edifying one. I just want to go into that history of how King James was against the Roman Catholic Church. That's why it's important to know this history. All right, so that when somebody comes up with some BS, or why do we use the King James Version? Hey, this is another ammunition, because King James was against the Roman Catholic Church, and the Roman Catholic Church was against King James. In fact, they tried to kill King James. All right, especially the Jesuit order. All right, that is backed by the Roman Catholic Church. So, Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to give all praise and all glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there, pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep it doing. Keep the faith. Keep pushing. Keep fighting. Keep studying. Pray without ceasing. Pray for each other. Pray for the apostles, elders. We're almost out of here. To the few sisters that are watching, keep studying. When you pray, cover. Shalom. And as the apostle elders always say, on to the next one. Shalom.